She expecting like an apology or something?
Yes, she's like fully expecting me to apologize to her. She's like, how dare you? You made my life miserable. I can't believe you did those things.
Bro.
M.I.A. podcast. Probably never think we was gonna do this, huh? M.I.A. What's up, world? Welcome back to the M.I.A. podcast, powered by the M.I.A. Enterprise. I'm your host, Mook, a.k.a. Muktar, a.k.a. Muktar, a.k.a. Fast Swiper, and I'm here with my dog, my boy, my longtime homie. Tell the people what your name is, bruh.
My name is George, and like Muktar said, we've been friends for a while, and it's this is overdue for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In this chair, and
yeah, man. You
looking
know.
forward for this.
Yeah, you already know. What you been up to, man? How you been?
I've been good. I just started school back again.
Yeah,
trying to get
that school should have killed you, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Hell yeah, but no, honestly, this semester I've been enjoying it more than other semesters I've been at VCU, and you kind of already know why I've been going out a little bit more than I used to. I'm trying to socialize a little bit more than I did my first couple years there. So it's definitely been having a good time there, enjoying myself.
Yeah, motherfuckers got their own lives and shit going on. But I was gonna say, you say you joined school, you're going out more.
Yeah. And honestly, with that, I'm because the only reason I'm kind of going out more than I used to is because last year I worked at West Rock. I was there for like half the year. Yeah. And when I was working there, I'm just surrounded by 40, 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
There's like nobody in your age range. So it gave me a greater appreciation for school for me personally. Mm-hmm. So when I came back to school, I was like, I got to make sure I take advantage of my time here, make sure that I enjoy my time at VCU before it's all over. So yeah, that was kind of like my my drive to actually go out a little bit more. It's just having that experience of not being in school anymore. Yeah, it puts things into perspective for sure.
That's the thing, bro. When you're working at a job and shit, bro, it's like you're just around, like, bro, like at least for my job too. Like I'm one of the younger people there, so it's like you're just around a bunch of like random age people, and it's like.
And it's really hard to connect there too because everybody work is one of those things has a very negative connotation to it. So everybody there kind of goes there with the mindset was like, I'm just gonna go here, do these 8 hours, and just leave. I'm not.
Yeah, you don't really want to be there.
I'm not here to like socialize at all. So yeah,
that's exactly how I be when I go to work, bro. But I've made a couple homies there. It's just.
Oh yeah, you can definitely meet some good people, but I mean, just the place I was working at, there was nobody my age, nobody. Like they didn't, we weren't into the same things, bro. I'm 21. Everybody's like 40.
Nah, facts.
Yeah, so yeah.
Nah, bro. I mean, bro, cause, bro, you gotta think about it. At least for like, especially during COVID, like peak COVID, bro.
Yeah, that was also another motivation too.
It's like
stuck in the house.
It's for me, bro. I'm like, bro. Think about it, right? In school, at least in high school and school before college, like you're in school with 7 hours a day with people, and it's like. Constantly switched out people with your classes, but at work, bro, you'll be there for 8-10 hours a day, and it's the same people. Like you're hanging out, you're like, and you got to think about it. If you go to work, because I work like 10-hour shifts, so if I go to work 10 hours, I sleep for 5, I try to go to the gym. It's like, bro, I'm with my employees more than my own family.
That's true.
So it's like it gets agitating, bro.
And the thing about work is like you can't switch in and out the people there. Like,
yeah,
you can't like in school you can like. You can take a different class. You can you can sit a different desk or different lunch location. But in work, you just like you could hate somebody, but you gotta see them.
Facts, bro. I mean, bro, I low key got beef with some of my people that I work with, bro. Anything like really interesting going on in your life right now?
I've already told you this, but I'm rushing for a frat currently.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That definitely is a whole different experience, and it's. The thing about that is you get to see a different side of VCU, like, especially as a commuter, right? We both commute to school.
Yeah.
My first 2 years there, I was a commuter too. So as a commuter, you're not really in the social scene because you got to go to class and then you got to drive 20 minutes back here. So you don't spend that much time with the people down there. But with this rushing, and just going out to parties, going out to certain events. Like yesterday, I went to go play basketball with some of the brothers there, and that was really fun. Like you get to make new friends for sure. You get to meet all different type of people in different majors, people in different lifestyles, and then you also meet people who are into the same things you're into. So that's one thing I've definitely been enjoying is just making new friends, making new connections, and it's something that was overdue for me personally, especially in school. That's something I always wanted to do, but I'm kind of glad I'm doing it now.
Yeah, now I definitely say for anybody that's like in college or in university and you're a commuter, bro, it's it's a different life to those people that live on campus because we got homies that live on.
About that either too. Nobody told me about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought I was gonna have the college experience at home.
In terms of like what you would consider fun, like if people want to party and do all that, that's not really my scene. But like the people that do really do that, it's a lot easier for you to do that being on campus than commuting. Because if you commute, bro, like it's such a hassle making friends because you're not constantly there. And if they be like, for you, if they're like, yo, you trying to kick it, it's a 20-minute drive, 20-minute back, while everybody else, they can just literally walk to the spot. And it's just, yeah, I mean, bro, life as a commuter, it's definitely cheaper. So, I mean, if you want to.
Those are the benefits that you get to save.
But yeah, if you want a social life and stuff like that in college,
don't go down this road.
Yeah, you probably don't want to be a commuter. But, or you're going to have to be working overtime to make friends and shit like that.
That's
like,
definitely true.
Another thing with commuting, bro, is like you're not gonna make your friends in the classroom. Like that's not how.
Yeah, and that's another thing compared to high school. That's where you make your friends in class, at lunch.
Yeah.
The different places that you make friends in high school compared to college is completely different.
Yeah.
In college, you go to the lecture, and at least the people who are trying to do good in school, you have to pay attention in the lectures, and there's usually no time to even speak to your friends other than that 5 minutes before class and after. So making friends in college is very unique. And this is the thing though about college, about like kind of making friends that I enjoy it at least, is you can kind of pick the group that you want to be friends with, especially if VCU. They have so many different organizations. I could go to some of the organization for engineers, and because that's a very specific group, so you can kind of go make friends there. They're all into the same things you're into. They're all going through the same experiences, taking the same classes as you are. Or you can go to like what I'm kind of doing now. You can go to a frat. You can just meet people who are trying to party, have a good time in school. So that's kind of the benefit for it too. Like you can kind of pick your friends.
Yeah, kind of falling back on what I was saying about like the reason why you don't make your friends in camp, bro. Like, and especially from what I've seen, bro, people just come to class, and as soon as that class is dismissed, they're running to the doors to get out of there. Like people, like they're quick to get out of there. So like, if you try to make friends in your classes, you got to either be putting like groups together with people. You're not gonna make your friends by like trying to catch people on their way out the door. Like it's not.
I've tried that before, but it's definitely not the way.
They don't teach you any of this, bro. Especially if you're immigrant ethnic kid, bro. You would never know all this stuff. You kind of just have to go through it to figure it out. Yeah. But I mean, even I think besides being ethnic immigrant, I just think any regular kid has to figure this stuff out in college. Like
that's definitely true.
It's just like I'd say join clubs, but I really don't have any experience. I'd never joined any.
You definitely step out at least. Go out to an organization or intramural sports.
Yeah.
There's so many things, opportunities in college that you're not going to have afterwards. Definitely take advantage of it because you're paying a lot of money for it.
I agree with you. If you do go, definitely step out, bro. Because at work, bro, especially if you have a job, bro, you're going to have, I don't know, at least for me, I have these constant thoughts in my head like, bro, am I going to be here for the rest of my life? And it's because you're working with people that are so much older than you. And they're still there. That's true. And it's like, bro, you just like you start feeling stagnant, bro. Like your life's not going anywhere. Time just passing you by, and you're just not doing anything. Well, school, it's always like so fast paced, and like everybody's so young, so vibrant, and like thing with our school is super diverse. Like, bro, and these kids, I always wonder like there's kids that'll be like cookie cutter white kids that come into college, and when they come out, they're like gothic free, and it's like, and it's just so crazy. And I literally be thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, were they hiding who they were their entire life in school, in high school?
Yeah, but that's the thing about high school. Or that's everybody does that in high school.
Or is this who they always wanted to be, and now they feel free to be this? Like I constantly am asking myself because I see people that I went to school with, and I'm like, bro, that wasn't you in high school. But were you hiding your real self, or did you just get influenced by the people that you're hanging out with now?
I think it can go both ways, especially like going with the high school thing is I feel like high school is an age where you're really young and a lot of people conform to what's popular in that school.
Yeah.
You kind of have you dress a certain way because everybody else is dressing that sort of way. You talk a certain way. You hang out with certain people, so you kind of have this following mentality a lot in high school. But in college, you could end up going down the same path. Like you could be a follower again in college. But honestly, what I see it as is people just they get a lot more experience in life.
Yeah.
And they get a lot more comfortable in life, especially in college. You start to figure out who you are just by getting older. So some of those people probably were truly feeling like that way in high school and they were hiding it, or some people did feel like that in high school and they weren't hiding it. But once they got to college, they just experienced more in life, and
I respect it though, cause it's like, bro, when you go to a new college, bro, you've been given like kind of a ticket of just like a new life. Like you can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
Like you
Especially
could present.
if you move to like a
That's what I'm saying. Like you could you could have been the punkiest kid in school, but become like the most street nigga in college just because like nobody knows your past, nobody knows nothing about you. So you could just literally become anything you want to be. So it's
and kind of picking back on that, like back in high school, like I wasn't the type of person to like go out or like maybe a little bit later on in my senior year, but I wasn't that social overall in high school. But now I'm definitely like.
Speaking of people hiding things from that you don't know about, Georgie just showed me a song, and I'm like,
that's not good.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, make music.
No, first of all, that was one song, and that's by far like the only song I really like made.
Yeah, I mean, by no means are you saying like you want to be a musician, but it definitely took me for a surprise. I'm like, yo, y'all got. He told me. He's like, yeah, I made this song. It's okay. And I'm joking. I'm like, George, who said it's okay, nigga? Like, you got to get somebody to tell us that it's okay. You can't just. And he played, and it's like, I'm like, bro, this is a lot better than what like regular people make. And I would have never thought, me knowing this dude for as long as I've known him, that he would make music like that, or he would even attempt something like that.
I appreciate that. Even you with this podcast, like, I'm so glad you decided to do this. Like, it's such an interesting field for me because I'm a huge podcast fan.
Yeah.
I listen to that more than music at this point. So
yeah, me too.
I'm definitely excited for what you're doing. I'm proud of you stepping out, for you investing. You have professional equipment. That means that you're serious.
I don't know. I just want everything to be perfect off the bat, but I have to like kind of come to the realization you're starting something. Like you're not going to be at the finish line at the starting line. That's so it's just take it day by day and like, bro, just take that big step of putting it out there and just see what it. And even if it's not received well, bro, just keep going. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. And it's like, yeah, for sure. I mean, bro, this is just something like I'm just interested in seeing how this goes, where it goes. I'm just interested in having like dope, funny, happy, like good, deep conversation. That's why I wanted to do this thing in the first place. But yeah, I mean, trickling down a little bit. We talked about school and all of that, but we were talking earlier about little stuff that's just different, based off Africa. And talking about mental health a little bit, and you were saying something about mental health and poverty.
Yeah, I can kind of go into that a little. My experiences there were really interesting, and one thing that I specifically remember when I lived there, and was this one lady that lived around in the neighborhood that we lived in, and everybody knew in the area that there was something mentally wrong with her. She wasn't 100% there mentally, like. But the thing is, back in Africa, those sort of things are not really discussed. It's kind of like put to the side, like you just kind of hide it and don't even think about it or look at it or just even acknowledge it for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I kind of look at, and it's one of those things. It's kind of hard to change those type of situations because I currently don't have the funding, the cash, I don't have that right now to even make a huge difference. But it's like it's one of those things that I look back on, and I just think about how like mental health issues in Africa are not really even ever brought up or thought about. I don't know if you have any like.
Nah, yeah, bro. It's like, I think that that's a big reason why it's perpetuated and just not even just African, but I think ethnic communities in general, that like mental health isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
Or if it's like, okay, you're suffering from mental health, so what?
Yeah.
Like everybody, because the thing with Africa, bro, it's like I've seen, like, bro, my mom, my dad have gone through the worst of what people can go through, like, and I've never like once seen them like even show a shred of it like outwards affecting us, outside of like my mom talking like having like outside of the survivor's guilt of like her being in America and having family back there, because that's obviously tough because it's like they're going through so much back, but like my dad, bro, I've literally never seen him like show any shred of like it like affecting him, and I'm sure that it does, but it's like for them to go all through, I say this, I think American society uses mental health as a bit of a crutch, and then African society or just ethnic communities in general just put it off as like, so what? It could be worse. Yeah, that's because they seen the worst. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially living in America like now, but my parents know it could be so much more, so much worse, and it sucks because I don't think that either both sides are right. I don't think. I think that you need to be somewhere in the middle where like we need to realize and understand that there is, even me, like I have like what's it called? Just like my thought process is like, bro, there's like, am I gonna really blame my mental health as the reason, or me quote unquote being depressed or anything like that as the reason as why I wasn't successful when I have family members literally starving for food? And if I like, I always like, I don't know, this is kind of harsh of the way I put myself out of that idea of like, Muktar, you're depressed, like you're sad. It's like, Muktar, could you go back to your family members that live in Africa and tell them the reason why you weren't able to help them or like do anything for them is because you were emotionally depressed because, I don't know, someone said something about you, or you just, life isn't going your way? Yeah. Like, would you really have enough, would you be able to show your face to those people? And I don't know, it's a bit harsh, and I don't think that people should think like that. Yeah. But it's, I mean, it helps me a lot, and I cope with like, just like, I don't know, I have a hard time. I believe in depression and all that. I'm iffy about people diagnosing you with it, because I feel like you could, like, everybody goes through it, and obviously it's a spectrum. Some people go through it more than others, but I don't know. For me, I've always been able to kind of like talk myself out of it, and my relationship with like Allah, my God, or everybody's God, like I have that relation where I just talk out loud, knowing that I'm listening, and then I feel like and it's like, to me, that helps me out. But I am having to learn that like not everybody's like you, and like people using everybody has it worse is kind of demeaning what they're going through.
But let me say this real quick. The one thing about African culture that I personally don't like is there's not a lot of like emotional
support.
A lot of Africans don't show a lot of emotion. Yeah. Like, I know we've had this conversation too before about like you hugging your mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I don't know if you want to answer, but like I have certain situations where that I have a hard time showing emotions, and a lot of people call that out, especially Americans here. They kind of call that out of me, but in Africa, there's this thing where we don't show a lot of emotion. We don't do a lot of hugging. We don't do a lot of kissing. We don't do a lot of saying, I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. Like, I don't remember the last time I heard that from my parents.
We talked about this before.
So, like, Africa has that certain aura of it where there's not a lot of, like, emotional outpoured, and there's also not a lot of emotional help either, like you were saying, like, but then you also have to have a balance too, because I feel like in America they do kind of overdo it.
I think that's what I'm saying.
I think there's a middle ground for it where you can have a good amount of just showing your emotions, just telling how people feel, and then not overdoing it, and also being strong enough, like you're saying, use like for you you talk to God, and that's just a way to kind of get out your emotional feelings and how you feel on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's just having a good balance of either or.
I mean, I think the mental health thing also goes into a lot of like the poverty and stuff that you feel. Like, poverty in third world countries is not the same as poverty in America. Like the poverty in America, bro, you can be like you get federal assistance, you EBT, and bro.
You can get money on the side of the road.
And bro, trust me, I know about EBT. Like I live off the EBT. That's my favorite thing, bro. I love the government for that. But it's like, bro, it's people that are poor and they have cell phones in America, bro. Yeah. Africa and all that, like any other country, bro. If you're poor in a third world country, like you're dirt poor. Like it's like you're like you barely might have a place to sleep that night and all this other stuff. So it's rough. So I think that plays a role into like the mental health and all that stuff as well. It's just like I said, I mean, I don't want to poop on American people, but it's like why you using it as a crutch, but you have so much opportunity. But then again, they're kind of blinded because like they only know it from their perspective. As me and you know it from two different perspectives. We know it as being the American, living in America and being here and understanding the opportunities. And then we've seen the side, or we've at least seen this, maybe you've seen it, but I see it from my parents more so. And like, I have stories and I'm like, I'm a refugee. So it's like, you see these things and it's like, so you have two perspectives of it and it's rough. And I mean, even growing up, it's like, what are you? Like, are you the kid that, are you the refugee kid or are you the new kid that you're becoming in America? It's like rough. And it's constantly you being tugged and pulling on like whether or not you are this or are you becoming this? And you have to decide like, is it better for me or should I stick to my roots? And like I said to you, I think it's a cut even balance.
Yeah. And and that's one thing I do like about it being from Africa, and you mentioned this too, is just having two different perspectives. Like I lived in Africa where I experienced being poor there and also having money. So I come from a pretty wealthy family back home. Like my grandfather was pretty wealthy, so I saw the wealthy side of Africa too, but my own personal family, we weren't the most wealthiest. We were pretty much middle class, but we lived in a neighborhood where we could see the poorest of the poor. So I have that perspective of like being rich and poor in Africa and also and then coming here in America where you kind of get to see that dynamic too. You get to see how the rich people live here and how the poor people live here. But the thing is, the poor people in America have so much more opportunity than the people back home. Like I know so many stories of people of like this is kind of gonna be kind of a basic general term, but I know so many rappers who've came from nothing in America and have made millions. Like that in Africa is not even
it doesn't happen.
You don't have that. Yeah, like, if you're born poor in Africa, you're probably gonna die poor. It's a lot harder to make that come up. And I am and that's one thing I do want to do when I get older and I start getting wealthier eventually, is just to kind of go give back to the place that I came from.
That's like my number one thing, bro. Yeah. It's like, bro, being a refugee, like it's like you kind of get like having your home taken away from you and having your parents' home taken away from you. It's rough. Yeah. And it's like I've talked about it before, like the survivor guilt of being like one of the few families of hundreds of thousands of families that get the opportunity to come here and like make this place our home. And it's like you just constantly getting phone calls from back home, or you see the pictures, or you see that, and it's like, bro, there's so many people that are going through it that it's like, bro, there's a kid that's me, like that's literally me.
Because it's feeling like that too, bro. I be feeling like when I look at some of these pictures from Africa, it's like that could be me. And God has blessed me to come to this wonderful place where I can I have the opportunity to do something with my life. So I want to make sure this has been a goal for mine ever since I got here, is to eventually, like, once I start making the money, is to just give back to the place that I came from.
Yeah, that's the normal thing. Because I like it's and this also ties a lot into like religion for me being a Muslim. Like I see there's kids that I watch videos of them and they're just reciting Quran, and they're like Somali kids, have nothing, they don't have shoes on, and they're just reciting, and it sounds so good. And it's like, bro, they're giving their like life to this religion. Yeah. And it's like me, I come to America and like I'm kind of like messing around? Are you really happy? And it's like, I don't know. I think even though poverty is so much different there, I think a lot of people are a lot more happy than American people.
true.
I often wonder like why I was one of the people that was like chosen to come to America, because I believe everything happens for a reason. Like, and like I often wonder, and like the kind of like the verdict or like the final reason I like try to like tell myself is that like these people, maybe if they had came to America, they would because they're like Dean is faith. Their faith is probably so much stronger than mine, or like at least presented to me. Like they have such a tight knit to God. Because like back then, if you're poor and you don't have much, like religion is really like the thing that keeps you going. Like it's all you got. So for me, it's like maybe if I would have stayed in Africa, and God knows this, I would have started questioning like, why is my life so miserable? And then maybe I would have walked away from God, and maybe He sent me here because it's like you it'll grow your faith, because you'll see perspective that you wouldn't see, because maybe I wasn't strong enough to handle living in that kind. And that's like how I try to like rationalize it for myself.
At the end of the day, we have to go back and give back. Like I think that's at least in what I feel like. I think that's the reason why I was brought here, is so I can come here, make the best living I can, attain as many resources as I can while I'm in here. So eventually, once I'm a lot older, I can go back there. I can give back. I can give those certain resources to the people who don't have them, such as food and shelter, so they can at least be a little bit more comfortable in life, so they can do a little bit more with their life moving forward.
I do think that we're kind of like what was the word, congruent, just like people that like can ultimately help a wider spread of people. And like I said, I do try to rationalize it to myself. It's like, maybe you couldn't handle that. Like maybe you would have started questioning your faith if you lived there, and that's why God put you here, and He put you here so it'll strengthen your faith, not make you question it. Rather as like, you know what I mean? And ultimately, that's ultimately my goal as well, is like to go back and just affect as many people's lives as I can affect in this dunya, which is like this temporary life that we live in now. Because like in the next life, when inshallah like we go to heaven and all that, it's like we'll be judged on that. And I've seen like quotes that I really take like super sincerely as like I saw one, and it was like, be the voice for the voiceless, so that they can be your voice on the day of judgment. So I saw that, and I really like that affected me. And then it's just like, you just gotta like, we can affect people, and it's like as much we can do is like just help people and give back to those people, and just try to like uplift them, because they've gone through poverty for so long, and it's like it's just so rough. And I mean, like I said, I mean, we bullshit, we fuck around, we do whatever, and like we get what's it called? We get gravitated to this like Western lifestyle, but it's like that's why I really am proud of like who my parents are and how they are, because like I see all these some other kids that really fall in love with this like Western lifestyle, and it's like I'm glad that like I can take things from this Western lifestyle, but I like have my root in my core, and that's always who I'm gonna be.
Definitely, and that's the other thing is like coming to America, you have to have that balance. Like you can't just come here and just act like you're living back home. Like, you can't come here and just live like you were back home. But you have to. You eventually have to adapt just to even live here. But you also need to have that balance of know where you came from, know who you're representing, know the values that you came with, and the values that you learned at home, and make sure you keep those close. Like don't just change for other people. Make sure any changes that you make are rooted in something important. Just don't change for money. Don't change for fame. Don't change for females. Don't change for any of that.
I mean, even like, bro, money and all that stuff, like, it just kind of shows you who you really were more than it like changes you, like, or who you really wanted to be. You know what I mean? So like, people change and stuff like that. It's like, that's probably just who they always wanted to be, but they didn't have the influence and money or power to be that. So now they are being that, and it's like, you know what I mean? Now they can be like, F you, I have money. Whereas when they were poor and they tried to do that, they're gonna be looked so down upon, and they're gonna feel the effects more directly. While if you have power, money, influence, you'll feel more indirectly. But I mean, going into, I wanted to really talk about this. This is an interesting question that I was thinking about. Is uh, if you look back 5 years ago at what 16-year-old George, 15-year-old George, do, do you really think looking back at that 16-year-old's ideas and things like about life, do you think you would have? Did you expect for you to be where you are now?
Currently, yes and no, and I'll kind of go into the yes. For me, a big part of my life and moving to America and the main goal for my family was always education coming here. So in that end, I feel like I've been able to stay down that path correctly, and I'm pretty sure my parents are glad that I've stayed with the education path that I've, because I'm currently a junior at a college. I have pretty good grades. I already have an experience under my belt. Like I've done things in that end of the path that I want. Like I had always wanted to go to college. I always wanted to do engineering, and I'm currently doing it, and I'm going down the path. I have one more year left, so on that side of things, I feel like I would be proud of myself for making it this far in college, knowing how many people that have kind of fallen off this path. But kind of going into the no part, there's certain things that I wanted when I was in high school or around 16, around that age, that I feel like I've gotten to experience it. And I'll go into some of the certain things like females. Like back then, I always wanted to at least have female or just have female company. I always wanted to just kind of be a little bit more social, you know.
Yeah.
But I've experienced certain of those things that I wished for, and I have a greater perspective of it now. And one realization that I had is like, having those things don't make you happy at the end of the day. Like, you can have a lot of females, you can have a lot of money, you could be doing drugs, you could be doing certain things that you think that will make you happy, but at the end of the day, that's not where your happiness comes from. Your happiness comes from within. For you can't be happy from external things in life. You internally have to create that happiness in your life. You have to do things that you want to do. You have to do things that you like to do. You have to think. You have to do things that innately that will make you proud. You have to do things religiously. You have to do things for God that you know you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, I mean, that's my perspective on it. I mean, I'm happy I made it this far. There are obviously certain things I would change. Currently, where my life is right now, but I'm not to sound like cocky or anything, but I'm proud of how far I've made it. I'm proud of the things that I've been able to accomplish in the amount of time that I've had here.
Nah, I
What
mean,
about you? How do you feel?
it's not even cocky, bro. You should be proud. Like, it's like coming where you come from, bro. Like, it's like being from Kenya, coming here, and then becoming an engineer, majoring in engineering, and all that. Like, you should be proud of that. It's not. I don't think there's anything cocky about it. Yeah. Me, it's an interesting question because it's like, because I also do think. What I asked you, do you are you happy with? Well, I didn't. Are you happy with where you are now? Okay.
Like, if you're 16, and like, would your 16-year-old self be happy?
Yeah, would your 16-year-old self look at you right now and be like, I'm proud of you. I'm happy at where you're at.
Yeah.
See, the thing is with me is like, the thing is with being younger, bro, is just the unrealisticness of like I don't want to say dreams, the unrealisticness of how fast you're gonna achieve things. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, bro, when I was 16, bro. First of all, when I was 16, I probably thought I was going to the NBA. Like that still probably was like one of the things that I thought I was gonna be doing. Too, not gonna lie. Yeah. So it's like that's, and then it's like, if not going to the NBA, bro, I'm gonna be like a millionaire by like 19, 21. It's like I'm 21 now, not even close to that. So it's like you have to realize that, like, stop stressing so much about the time. And just love the journey. Like, as cliche as that sounds, because if you focus too much on the time, if you focus too much on like, bro, by 21 I'm gonna be this, and you get to 21 and you're not that, you're gonna be demoralized by not being at where you're at. You're gonna be like, I'm a failure. I should have been this, and that. I should be here. And it's like, bro, take a step back, bro. Trust me. It takes, bro. Some people take to their 40 to get to where they want to be. Some people take to their, you know what I mean? Some people get it at 18. It's everybody's walking a different route, walking in a different road. So just walk on the road that you're walking on. Don't necessarily look to the other next man and look to the. And I have a huge problem with that. That I do that a lot. I look and seem like constantly like comparing myself to my friends or like comparing myself to other people. Like, all right, am I where I'm at? Okay, I'm a little bit above him. It's like just natural because I'm a natural competitor, and I don't necessarily like that about me. So I think 16-year-old Mook, I think he'd be happy that I'm still here. Happy that I don't want to say made it, but like happy that you've gotten this far. Because 16-year-old Mook was down bad. Like bro was like,
what do you mean by that though? Go into a little bit about that. Like where were you at 16? Like your mindset.
Bro, it's 16.
Outside of like basketball, where were you mentally? Like, are there certain things that you wanted to do in life?
It was just like
you weren't doing at the moment. Because like I mentioned, for me, it was like females, money. You know.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Certain...
To me, it was just like I've constantly felt like I'm on a timer.
Yeah.
Because of like, I mean, I'll get a little open. I feel like I'm constantly on a timer because like my grandmother is getting super old, and it's like my mom and her haven't seen each other in like decades, and it's like I want her to still be alive to see some of my success, and my grandma. And it's like I just wonder, it's like, bro, as bad as it is where she's at, like it's like that's another year of you letting her suffer. That's another year of you know what I'm saying? So I have that burden that I kind of put on myself. And even with my parents, it's like, bro, I see the work that my dad does, and I see what he puts himself through every day to just make sure that we have a roof over our heads. Yeah. And it's like, Muktar, that's another year that you like. So I that's why I wanted fast money. I wanted to get it so quick so I could get them to be done with all that and just live the life they want to live. So I've always constantly felt like I had a timer, and like I think that mentally Muktar was just like that Muktar, 16-year-old, 15-year-old Mook, he was just in a place where it's like, you gotta hurry up, you gotta hurry up, you gotta hurry up, you gotta hurry up. Yeah. And it's like that caused me a lot of like just like mentally being like, oh, what are you doing? You're failing. Like, so it was like, it was really hard for me. And it was just times like, it was like, bro, why am I doing this? Why am I like, I used to constantly just like, I wasn't suicidal, but I just be like, what is the reason for me being like, what is my purpose in this life? Like, why am I? And it was like, I just constantly be asking myself these things, and it was just like bad. So it was rough. And so, like I said, I think 16-year-old Mook would be happy that like, you're still, I think he'd be happy that it's like, okay, Mook, basketball didn't work out. Cause like, I mean, we're at my homie's house, like the homie that like, and y'all probably wonder why the hell I'm always in some different place when I'm shooting the episode. I'm like, bro, it's a mobile podcast. I constantly have to be on the move. I don't have a home yet. And being happy, I don't know. Like the question is just so deep for me, and I don't want to go on too much of a rant a little bit, but for me, I have to break it down. Like, okay, would 5 years ago Mook be happy with where you are? Yeah, I think he would, because I said like he'd be proud that you made it and you found something else that you enjoy doing, and like you're still out here figuring out how you're gonna make this $1 million idea, $1 billion idea happen. And it's gonna happen, inshallah. Like it's gonna happen. Like I firmly believe that. Yeah. But then if I take it back 10 years, that 11-year-old Mook, would he be happy or proud of who the man I am and who I'm becoming? I don't think so. I think in some sense I've kind of let that 11-year-old kid down, and I don't know. I just think he wouldn't be necessarily as happy as I.
What are those certain things that you think you would?
Because bro, that kid was just so doe-eyed, bro. He was just so like, just so like he was just such a positive, so fascinated with the world, just an adventurous kid, just like lived in and just enjoyed every day. Like literally, I swear to you, bro, the ages of from 9, maybe like 9 to like 11, or the little like section of my life that I just enjoyed the most, because I was just so free, and I just like had no, like at the time you don't know what responsibility is. Yeah, and it's like
that's the one thing that the thing about growing up that I personally don't like is the amount of responsibility you get as much older as you get.
And it's like you just want to constantly say, I want to get older, I want to get older, I want to grow up, I want to grow up. But it's like, bro, that kid was just living, he was a fun, every day felt so long, every day was a new adventure. And that kid just was like so optimistic about the world. And then along the lines, like, I don't know, I just lost that. And I
can definitely feel that too. That definitely happened to me too, for sure. But I think that just comes with age.
Just became someone that was just like so pessimistic.
Yeah.
Just so like negative, just didn't want to, like, I was a really outgoing kid when I was young.
Yeah.
And then now, like, bro, I struggle just like being friends with people because it's like, bro. And I think for me, that kid, that's the kid that will be something. Like, he's the one that, not 15, 16-year-old that's going to.
You want to get back to that? You want to get to that back to that type of mindset?
Not necessarily mindset.
Yeah.
I care more about proving that kid right. And making that kid proud, the 11-year-old Mook, than I do the 15, 16-year-old Mook. Because I don't think the 15, 16, at some point, but...
That's still inside of you, though. That part of you is still there. I think it's just...
For sure.
It's going to come with time. Yeah.
I think that the 11-year-old kid is really who Muktar is, and the 15, 16-year-old kid was hiding, covering up who he is. And now I'm kind of having to pull off
Honestly, I not that you're saying it in that sort of way, I definitely identify with it because when I was a lot younger, like around that same age period from like 9 through like let's say like before middle school, or like a little bit of middle school too. Like I personally did not care what anybody thought about me. Like, I was so carefree. I would kind of like enjoy life, live day by day. Then once you start going into like end of middle school into high school, it comes to a certain point where other people's opinions start affecting you. You start caring about what other people think about you. You start caring about your looks. You start caring about, oh, am I getting all the girls in school? Do I have the best clothes? Do I have the best shoes? And that mentality, I had too, bro. I had that same mentality where I would constantly think about what other people thought about me, but I feel like I'm stepping out of that. Yeah. More as the older that I get, the more I'm stepping back into that person who was less carefree, who was like super confident, didn't care about what anybody else thought. So yeah, I think it's eventually gonna come with time for sure.
Showing only certain parts of what he wanted people to see. Yeah. Now having to peel back those layers and be like, okay, you're naked now. Like, that's who you are, and that's what you want to be. If you want to be that, or don't lie to yourself. I mean, and you're the only one that looks yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, don't lie. Like, you can't lie to yourself. I think that I'm definitely, like, in a sense, like, rectifying the wrongs of what that portion of my life was. Because high school, I talk about high school, bro. I feel like I was just hiding, I feel like people only saw me one way, so I just showed them that one side of who I was. And I never, like, let you fully get around the dimensions of, like, who I am or what I am. You know what I mean? People try to push me into that, like, just a basketball player kid. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to show you. And I'm going to just be that. But it's like, there's so many things, like, and then, certain people like, bro, I love anime. Like, anime is, like, one of my favorite things. Well, a lot of people might not even look at me and be like, yo, that kid likes anime. But that's one thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that for a while.
Yeah, like Bollywood, bro. I grew up on, like, who the fuck would think I grew up on Bollywood? Bollywood is my ish, bro. Shah Rukh Khan's like the greatest actor ever, in my opinion. Like, these are things that I grew up on and I enjoyed so much as that kid. Yeah. And then I got older and I'm like hiding the fact that I like, not hiding, but I just like didn't show that side because nobody. I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's an interesting dichotomy and like dynamic of like what you start realizing as you're older. Like I said, for the kids that want to grow up so fast, slow down, bro. Take time. Take your time.
And this is something my parents used to tell me when I was younger and I didn't understand. Like, and I see it in them too. Like, you can't listen to what other people want you to be. You can't follow the crowd. You're not supposed to follow the crowd. Don't, like, my mom used to tell me, why are you buying those expensive ass shoes? Like, yeah. like it shouldn't matter what people think about your shoes. They should matter. What should matter is like who you are as a person. And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to fully understand that. And I mean, I still do buy
Now, I mean, you
shoes.
still gotta be fly a little bit. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You definitely
yeah, you still gotta look
definitely
good
gotta
fly.
look good. But like that shouldn't be the number one thing. That
Yeah.
shouldn't be the most important thing. What
Yeah.
should matter is like your character, you as a person. That should be the most interesting thing about you, not the type of shoes you got. You know. But yeah.
But I mean, you just learn that with gay age, bro. It's just like you realize. I admire the people that like were just stay true to who they are the entire. But I really don't believe that there's that many people that are like that. Like I
That's
think
definitely
there's
true.
phases of who you are, and I mean they don't necessarily define you. So
Yeah.
I'd say, like I said, younger 11-year Mook. Hopefully one day I can make that kid proud. 15, 16-year-old Mook. I mean, I love you, but you was messed up, boy. I was talking to kids the other day, and I'm like, yo, you going to school? Like, what are y'all doing at the high school? And I'm like, bro, I'm telling you now, this facade and this umbrella that high school has you under,
Yeah.
of like feeling protected or having no responsibility. Trust me, bro. When you get out of this, life is gonna be so much more different. Cause I thought like people be like, yeah, bro, once you get out of high school, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, bro, you're just saying that.
Yeah.
Once I got out of high school, bro, it's like you got to figure out who you are. Like
Bro,
it's
that's one thing that I don't think anybody. That's one thing I mean, like you said, somebody might tell you about it, but I feel like you kind of have to live to it. The life after high school is so much. Like it's one of those things I didn't even expect to experience, but once you experience it, I think personally, I think that's when you start to like truly find out who you are.
yeah.
That's when you truly start to figure out what you really want to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
Other people go to college and they find themselves there. Other people work for a couple years and they find themselves that way. But I think that the life after high school is a very interesting time.
It's just such a strange time, isn't it, bro?
'Cause you're not in school. You're not worrying about what other people like kind of think about you.
And it's like nobody cares about you anymore.
You know?
Your following doesn't matter. Your thing that like nobody cares if you were popular in high school, and nobody cares if you were this, and that. It's just nobody cares, and you're just constantly doing your own thing. It's just new things.
It's a learning experience. Like I wish I couldn't have wished for a different experience, bro. Like I learned a lot about myself during that time, and now looking at where I am right now, I can definitely like pick and point out things to do. Like like I know certain things that I know I shouldn't do. I know I shouldn't care about what people like think about me because it's not gonna affect me. It's not gonna make my life any better. Like you have to do what you want to do.
For the kids that are in high school and getting to that age where they're about to be out of high school, or even if you're at that age and you're out of high school and you're not necessarily sure what you want to do, I say the biggest thing, bro, is learn to be alone and learn to be comfortable on in your own silence, in your own just by yourself, bro. Because if you don't get comfortable with that, you're gonna start clinging on to things that just the stupidest things that just don't matter. And like learn who you are for who you are. Don't forget about what everyone else thought in high school. Forget about what you wanted to be, what you wanted to do this, who thought of this like that. Forget about all that. Sit by yourself and just have thoughts and just constantly be like, and just start wondering, who am I? What am I? What do I actually like? Is this actually what I liked, or did I just like this because other people liked it? I'm telling you, the biggest thing and the best thing you can do for yourself as a person that's getting older and getting ready to graduate high school or in that stage where they're out of high school is learning to be comfortable by themselves and learning to be comfortable with yourself. That's the biggest thing I could tell you.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way, definitely, especially during like my first 2 years of college. Like I was a pretty like I would spend a lot of time with myself, and I would, not looking back on it, I'm so happy I had those experiences where you definitely get to know more about yourself. You get to have like more conversations, and then like being alone, it's one of those things that you need to do because you're not getting influenced. And having that time and space where you're not getting influenced by other people gives you a chance to kind of really figure out who you are at the core. Like,
and trust me, bro, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be the easiest thing. Like it's gonna be time where like you just don't feel like doing it or you don't feel like you have the time. But I'm telling you, take the time, because if you can't be by yourself, and look in the mirror and be happy, or just like, all right, at least I'm working to be something different, be something and be better. It doesn't even have to be like career based, just you on a mental stuff, or like mentally, physically, spiritually, anything like that. If you can just look at yourself and be like, okay, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm a step closer. I'm a step closer. I'm getting a step closer to who I want to be. It'll pay off, bro. I'm telling you, life is a journey. I say this all the time, and you got to take those footsteps. It's not, you might not, sometimes you're gonna have to take the stairs. The elevator might not work. You have to take the stairs. Like, it won't be, it might be easier for some, it might be harder for others, but I'm telling you, if you can't really look in the mirror at yourself and be okay with who that person is, then you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle with everything else in your life. Like, it's just gonna make everything else harder. So learn. I say at earliest you can is learn to be comfortable with yourself and learn to love, not love being alone, but learn to be comfortable being alone, because you're alone when you wake up and you're alone when you go to sleep. So
yeah, that time alone it would inspire you to do something with your life. And
yeah, I'm gonna let y'all know this man Georgie. What year was it, bro, when you moved into that apartment?
I think it was like 2019, if I'm...
Bro, this man Georgie, right?
Worst decision. Well, not worst. It was a learning experience, but...
Yeah. 2019, this man Georgie and two of our other homies, they moved into this like rink-a-dink apartment downtown. Yeah. And at the time, I'm like... To me, I was like, I'm surprised that their parents even let them move out, even though they were of age to move out. I don't know, like, just moving out in an ethnic house is like, it's a little weird. Like, the parents just want you to stay. Like, they want you to leave when you're there, but once you're ready to leave, they want you to stay. So when y'all moved out, I was pretty shocked. But like, tell us a little bit of like how it was and like the experiences that it was. I know y'all had some crazy, crazy times over there. That's why I had to stay up out of there.
Yeah. So I moved out going into my sophomore year in college, and my initial goal of moving out was because I have two older sisters, right? Mm-hmm. And when they went to college, they both moved out and they both got their own place. Either they dormed or they got their own apartment. So that was like an underlying feeling that I've had for a while, is that I want to kind of experience what they've gone through. I kind of want to experience of kind of living by yourself, relying on yourself for like food, relying on yourself for like emotional support, because you're not going to have your parents when you move out. Like, you're going to be living yourself. You're going to go through certain things where you're not going to be able to reach out to your parents. So I kind of wanted to experience that, how that felt like. But then I also had the other reasons, like I wanted to get into some of the dark arts. You know what I mean?
I said the dark arts. I'm weak.
You know, not to get too vulgar.
Yeah,
like
nah.
Trying to
get himself some pum pum.
Yeah, it was a huge learning experience for me, because living there, I figured out a lot of things. Like, I figured out like how to spend money correctly, how to socialize with females. I definitely learned the correct way of doing that. And even with drugs, I learned that me doing drugs is not going to make my life better or happier. Me doing these certain things in life are just going to keep bringing me down, while I used to think if I did this, I'm going to be so much happier. My life is going to be so much better. But like, I had to realize that me doing these things it's doing the exact opposite of what I want. It's doing the exact opposite. It's bringing my happiness lower. It's making me a lot more sadder. It's taking a toll on my body. It's making me unhealthier. So, definitely moving out. Put a lot of things into perspective. The pros of it was realizing how to manage money, being more responsible. But the other part where I'm glad I experienced it, but I didn't enjoy it, was just the dark arts in general. I'm happy that I don't do any more of those things anymore. I'm more grounded in myself, and
I mean, bro, I remember the time, and it's like,
you've been there before.
Yeah, but chill.
It's a wild place, man.
By no means like am I like a saint in any way. Like, I have my things that, you know what I mean, things that I do that I probably shouldn't be doing and stuff like that. So by no means I was a saint. But when it came to the drugs thing, I was never ever like, that was, you know, like I was never ever like partaking in all that. And it was like rough, because like I mean, prior to all that, like early high school, me and you were like super close. Like we hung out all the time. And then as like started to get older, I started seeing you progress into those things. And once y'all moved out into the apartment, like I really
Can I speak on that for a little bit?
Yeah,
and that kind of goes back to the influence thing, bro. Like I didn't get into those things because I wanted to get into it. I got into it because it wasn't peer pressure. It was more of I was influenced by outside forces, which is kind of like peer pressure. But
motherfucking George don't know what peer pressure
is. I basically defined it while I was saying it.
Literally.
But yeah, I guess it was peer. I did get peer pressured into it because I thought like me doing these certain things would get me certain things I wanted in life, like females. I thought that just kind of came along with it, but yeah, it doesn't. Let me tell y'all that don't get into it. Anything that you do that's not good for your body. Don't do it.
There's one specific story that I want to know about. The washing machine story.
What you mean? Bruh.
So, God, for those of y'all, I'm gonna say this. From my knowledge, apparently George wakes up at 4 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning.
No. First of all, let me tell this story, right?
To do his laundry.
This shit did extremely piss me off. So I'm gonna kind of lay out some of the background. So we lived in this 2-story apartment, right? Mm-hmm. Downstairs is where one of our roommates lived in. He had a bed in the living room, and me and this other roommate, we lived upstairs. We each had our own room. So one night, I think it was over the weekend, like maybe a Friday it was either a Saturday or Sunday. I do remember that for sure. I was just getting prepared to go back to school on that upcoming Monday. And I realized, oh, shit, I haven't done my laundry for this week. I have all these dirty-ass clothes. When I looked in the closet, I had no clean fits in that at all. I was like, I got to get these clothes washed as soon as possible. But at the time, I mentioned I was, doing a little bit of, some of the dark arts. And that kept me up. That kept me in the bed for the most time. So I remember I woke up. I was like, oh, shoot, it's late. But I don't have any clothes for tomorrow. Let me just go do my laundry real quick. I didn't think it was a big deal, right? So I go downstairs with my laundry basket. I throw the laundry in the laundromat or the not dishwasher, the clothes washer, the washing machine. Yeah, the washing machine. I threw my clothes in there, put detergent, click started, right? I go back upstairs just so I can relax. It was pretty late. If I can remember, it was like early morning.
Yeah, George, it's not pretty late. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, 3 a.m. in the morning. So yeah. So I go back upstairs just to get some more rest because I knew I had school the next day. I go upstairs, have some rest. I could hear the washing machine running in the background. So I'm there just chilling, sleeping, and then I hear the washing machine turn off. I'm like, I thought I started the washing machine. And I thought the circuit board fucked up. I thought the machine just stopped working for some reason. I go back downstairs, and it looked like somebody had stopped the washing machine because it was still on. The clothes were still there, but somebody had stopped it. So I'm like, what's going on here, right? I click start. Go back upstairs. Same thing happens. Same thing happens again. It turns off, and I'm like, I think there's somebody turning off this washing machine. And then I go back downstairs and I see my roommate sleeping on the bed. I'm like, yo, did you turn off the washing machine? He was like, yeah, I turned it off. I'm trying to go to sleep. So at that point is when we started going back and forth. It's 3 a.m. I'm tired. I'm trying to get my clothes clean for tomorrow. This man is saying that the washing machine is too loud. Bro, first of all, a washing machine, it may be loud. Washing machine is background music. It's like falling asleep to rain, at least in my perspective.
To rain?
Yeah, it's like falling asleep to rain or something. That's what I thought. But he was like, bro, I'm trying to go to sleep. I have class tomorrow too. What do you think? But why are you doing laundry at 3 a.m. in the morning? So we just started going back and forth. And I don't know what happened that night. I don't know if I was just on a short fuse or something, but I snapped on him. I was like, bro, if you turn this washing machine off one more time, I'm going to come down here and whoop it. I don't know if he told you about how aggressive I got.
No, he said you said
that. I was super aggressive to him. And I think I was definitely in the wrong there. But, I was probably under the influence of some sort. I was definitely not in the right state of mind. So I was definitely wrong in that situation. You should be doing laundry that early in the morning.
Yo, I'm so weak now because I've heard this story. And it's like, bro, Georgie, I'm like, That is kind of tweaked out that bro's like getting up to do laundry at 3 a.m. in the morning.
I legit almost squared up with him over some laundry, bro. Like, we got into a heated argument over that. He was definitely in the right, bro.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, bro. Nah, I was gonna say, what's it called? We were talking about, like as you were saying, dabbling in arts and all that, and talking about that. The craziest thing that you like heard about in like school. Yeah. And it's like crazy because you were talking about, what did you say about the girl that had to go to church? And
yeah. And back in middle school, say middle school, bro. There was this girl. I don't want to put her name out there, but there was this one girl. She was a pretty nice girl. Like she was one of those girls where you didn't expect her to be out in the streets like that. But I remember one day I was sitting with my friend, and we were just having a conversation, and she was like, "Yeah, this weekend on Sunday, I pretty much had to go in front of my entire church and pretty much tell them how I've been sucking all these guys' dicks, and how it's such a sinful thing, and I pretty much had to pray for repentance in front of their entire church." And me and my friend are like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, people are doing this now in middle school?"
Couldn't be me, bro.
Topping like at least 4 people. Like, I heard the stories too. Wow. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Girls were wild in middle school too.
See, bro, I don't understand why that's like a thing. Like, expose your sins to everybody, and now like everybody has like a different view. Like in Islam, it's
even the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has this like little room in the service where you go sit like next to a priest, and pretty much tell him the word.
Yeah, there is. I'm going to the grave with like, and that's the thing with that. I'm glad with my religion, bro. Islam, it's the complete opposite. Like, you're supposed to like conceal your sins as much as possible. You're not supposed to be exposing your sins. Like, the only person you're supposed to be confiding in when it comes to sinning is God. What's it called?
Hold on, let me throw this in there too. I don't know if you remember in Freeman, there was also another story of a girl giving top in school in the bathrooms.
I mean, a lot of girls do, bro. I mean, I literally seen a girl walk into the boys' bathroom during like lunch period. Like, I don't know what these girls is doing. Like, shawty walked in like it was okay, and then walked back out like as I'm walking in. I was like, yo, like, do you not notice? I know you don't think that this is right. Like, you're in the wrong bathroom.
Do you have any stories where you got in trouble in school?
Nah, I have one, bro. I was a pretty big troublemaker in middle school. I'm not gonna lie. So I had this. It's gonna be a pretty long story. But I had this 8th grade teacher, my 8th grade history teacher, and me and her had like, we was cool at the beginning of the school year, and then she like said something to one time to me, and I was like the kid in school that like, I'm cool with the teacher until like I feel like they've disrespected me. And then from that day forward, like I don't mess with you anymore. So she said something to me and I just didn't like it. And it was me and my 2 other homies in this class. And we were like the 3 musketeers of the class. Like we like class clowns and stuff. Bro. So, but I was like the one that like would stick with like, all right, I don't like her anymore. They're like flippy flop because she like tried to treat, I'm telling you, she was trying to, wage mental warfare against me. No cap, bro. I'm in middle school, bro. We get into arguments. She realized that the 2 other niggas that was in my class that were friends with me, that they'd like, if she like did good, if she was nice to them and like did things for them, they'll like start veering towards her way. Yeah. So I'm like, me and her getting into mad arguments. Like, I called her a racist one time, and we would just get into it. And she cried 3 times in our class. The first time, it was because of the entire class, or the 3 of us. The last 2 times, she blamed it on me. She tried to say that I was the reason why she started crying in class. And when she was crying, she's slamming shit down. She's like slamming her papers and all that. And she's like in the back. And bro, I'm telling you, she was doing this stuff on purpose because mental warfare, bro. She was trying to get the class to see me as like a villain and a bad guy so that they would turn on me. And that's what she tried to do with my homies too. Like, bro, she started giving these niggas candy and shit, you know what I mean? Want to start letting them watch movies. I'm in class doing my homework and she want to start bullshitting and start tweaking on me. So then when she started tweaking on me, I'm like, yo, Chance, bro, is she not tweaking? And then, bro, she just gave a nigga like 5 pieces of candy this week. So he like, bro, I don't know, bro, Muktar, you kind of have it. Like, niggas started turning their back on me. Like, I'm like, yo, bro, what's good with you, bro? They like, I thought it was, like, nigga, where's the code? And they're like, bro, you letting this teacher get in? So she started waiting. And it got so, and there's another thing with school, bro. These administrators are just weird. Like, they try to like push this narrative that Muktar was misogynistic and that I only started arguments and got into issues with teachers that were women. Nigga, majority of my high school, my school experience, my teachers have been women. I've had maybe 10 teachers out of like the 50 school teachers that I've had be men. So obviously I'm gonna get like just the percentages on it. And these teachers be like talking about me in the teachers lounge, like, yo, Muktar be doing this, Muktar be doing like he's such a bad like but pushing this narrative. Like I get into an argument with her. She told me some nonsense, and she said something about my dad, and I was like, she's like, your dad will be so disappointed in you of how you, and I was like, yo. And they said something else, and I was like, you racist. And she started tweaking, bruh. But nah, anyway, so me and her would have beef. We get in an argument. She started waging this mental warfare. I started crying. So the students in the class, all of a sudden, teachers' pets, you know, bro, Muktar, bro, you made her cry. Like, what are you doing? Muktar, you're just so obnoxious. Like, just look at yourself. I'm like, bro, are you stupid? So anyway, the teacher, and it was just getting so bad, bro, like throughout the entire school year. So I got called in the administrator's office. Bro told me that stupid narrative that I'm apparently misogynistic and that I pushed. I only argue with female teachers. And it's like towards the end of the school year. He told me if you get in one more altercation with another female teacher, you're gonna be suspended from school. And me, bro, yeah, I'm smart, bro. I play my cards until I can't play them no more. Like, once the suspension stuff coming up, dad gonna kill a nigga, you know what I'm saying? So, and other thing too about me, bro, is I was smart when I get in trouble in school. I knew exactly what time my dad went to work, so I knew exactly what time throughout the day that I could start tweaking on teachers. Early morning, my dad's at home, they want to try to give a phone call, he might pick it up, I'm fucked. I literally had to spend my last 2 weeks of school in school suspension for that specific class. And she knew what she was doing, bro. All of a sudden, they're eating popcorn, watching movies, having the best time of their life. And they're like, Muktar, we watched the movie today. Muktar, knowing that I'm in school suspension doing work. So fast forward, right, after all this beef with this teacher and her crying, right, fast forward, high school. After my freshman year of high school, I go back to visit the school with my homies. And we're sneaking around the school. And my homie's behind the camera. He can attest to this. We walked into her class, me and the other dudes that were like troublemakers. She giving these niggas warm welcomes. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And I'm like walking behind them so she can't see me. And she finally see me and she hit me with I'm about to get in my acting bag, bro. She was like, how dare you? How dare you? I was like, she's like, how dare you? How dare you show your face here? After all the things you caused me, you made my life a living hell.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can show your face here and not even take responsibility for what you did, it's disgusting. She was like going off, and I'm like,
was she expecting like an apology or something?
Yeah, she's like fully expecting me to apologize to her. She's like, how dare you? You made my life miserable. I can't believe you did those things.
Bro, like, how you getting hurt by a student? Bro?
And she's in there, bro. Literally, she's in there like, you know how many times I cried myself to sleep at night? Because of the things that you did in this class?
Do you think that she was for real about it?
She was dead serious. Bro, you was there, bro. Wasn't she tweaking, bro? Hell yeah. She was tripping. Like, I'm not even joking. She was like...
No, but do you believe her? Like, or do you think she was putting on an act of you? Like, you think she was like going home crying and shit?
No, nigga, there's no way she was going home crying. I think I added that part, but the other part, she was like, how dare you and all that stuff. She actually did say. She was like, how dare you show your face here? You made me cry many times in this class. She said, you made my life a living hell. That's what she said for sure. I remember it verbatim. So you made my life a living hell. And I'm like, and in my head, I just started like, like muttering words. I'm like, bro, are you seriously hurt? Like, it's been a year. Like, bro, like get up.
That you brought up the point that she tried to get niggas to turn on you. Because I did remember, like, me and you had gym together. And I remember the next class after that, I had Miss Refer, but you did it. I remember every time I dap you up, she would just be like, all right, Justin.
You heard me say, like, okay, like even my homie saying, like, if he comes into class, he's dapping me up. She's like, okay, Justin, like, no candy for you this week. Like, that's the type of stunt she was pulling. She's like, how dare you? And I literally was like, I'm talking to her. I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like, and then she's like, so she trying to make me look bad in front of this like random group of kids that I don't know, like this new 8th grade class. Like, how dare you show up here? Start tweaking. I was just like, all right, bro, you got to grow up. And then she's like, look at you. You still can't apologize for what you've done. And I just had to get up out of there, bro. And then she's still treating my homies like they're like the saints. I was like, yo, they was in there with me in the trenches when I was getting in trouble. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, they was in the trenches with me just because they turned on me at the end. And I had to start checking. I'm like, bro, like, yo, bro, like, she's not your friend, nigga. Like, you're not seeing her outside of school, nigga. I'm hanging out with you outside of school. You pull that son again in class. I'm telling you, I'm not fucking with you no more. Like, cause they was wilding.
Damn, you left a lasting fucking impression on that
Bro,
teacher, bro.
you're like 50-something years old and you're holding a grudge with a 14-year-old kid. Like, at that point, I'm thinking like once I leave this school, like, you're gonna forget about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
She was a little bit too invested in there.
And the thing was, we were having to hide from the administrators because they didn't want us in the building. So like, we were like hiding like the cool teachers' classes. So she was trying to like make the block hot, like trying to get me booted. Like, yo, like if she started screaming and they just came in and like imagine they just grabbed me. You're not supposed to be here. You're trespassing. I was like, bro, shit, yeah. But that's my story of how I traumatized my 8th grade history teacher. It was a fun episode. Glad to have you on, George. This is M.I.A. podcast. I'm Mook.
George.
And we're out.